When he had washed their feet, he put on his outer garments, resumed his place, and he said to them, "Do you understand what I've done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am." Not just teacher, but teacher and Lord. "If then your Lord and teacher have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do just as I have done to you. Truly I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor a messenger greater than the one who sent him." Now we come to the application. See, a lot of people do this first. They say, "Oh, here's what you need to do. Be like this. Try to be nice. Try to be a servant. Try to live a good life. Work hard to do that." That's backward. That's works-based. That's trying to gain by doing. We do because we've gained Christ. Do you understand the difference? There's a huge difference in that. Of course there's going to be an example. But that's not the main thing in this story, man. The main thing is what Christ has done for us. And then because of the change He's made in us, our lives are going to look different. We're going to be servants like this. You know, what's it look like in our lives if we're trusting Him? Well, it's going to look like this. Your servant's heart is going to show up. If you were a real jerk back then, you're not going to be such a jerk now because your heart has changed. If you were greedy, you're not going to be so greedy because your heart has changed. Right? That's the idea. That's the change here. If you were a selfish person, you're not going to be that selfish person because of what Christ has done in you. It's not that you're trying not to be selfish so you'll be good and people will say, "Oh, you're great," or that the Lord will look down and say, "Oh, you're not a bad person." That's not. But because we've been changed, this shows up in our lives. It just does. And if it doesn't, then there's a problem between your relationship with the Lord. Because the Bible promises that we are changed by Him. We're no longer the person we used to be. We struggle with sin, of course, but we're no longer living in that sin. So the idea is this. We don't try to become. We don't try so that we may become. You understand? We don't try so we may become. I'm trying so I might. I'm trying this. I want to be better, working harder. No. We are. If you're in Christ, you are, so you simply do. Does that make sense? I hope you capiche. Get that? I want you to understand that. Because our servanthood is not forced. It freely flows from who we are in Christ. You understand? That's the big deal here. That's the payoff. When we're talking about the application in terms of our redemption in Christ. If you have to force it, I know there's times, even as Christians, I'm going to try for the Lord's sake. I understand that. But it should be just out there where people look at you and say, "Wow." And you're like, "What? I don't even know." Just like at the end of the age. When did we see you naked? When did we see you hungry? Like the people that were living for the Lord they were just doing what they were doing. Right? When you did it to the least of mine, you did it to me. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I was just living for you. Right? That's the idea. It just flows from who we are in Christ by His Spirit. We do it. And that's our example. Because we do it freely, out of the love of Christ.